morning, American. It's Friday.
It's time for Morning Today with Jonathan Mark on AM 1480 WLEA.
Oh, yes, sir. It always startles me every time Paul Harvey comes on and says, good morning, America. It's Friday. Yeah, it always catches me by surprise, even though I know it's Friday. And so does Paul Harvey. Well, it is Friday, finally Friday, about time, the end of the work week, in a matter of speaking. A lot of people work on the weekend, I know. Well, what's going on here? Now, Brian on the news had the last story there. School starts next week for a lot of area schools. Yeah, and that's it, man. Summer is kind of over here. At least unofficially it's over. So school starts next week. Going to be a lot more traffic. Going to be school buses. They're going to be kids walking, maybe riding bicycles, whatever. And it's a whole other routine during the school year. So just watch for all the kids in the school buses and all that, and everybody will be safe. Now, living where we do on Main Street in Greater Metropolitan Almond, when school is in session, we can wait at the end of our driveway. You can wait there for 5 minutes to try to get an opening in the traffic, either going from Alfred or Almond or something like that to Hornell, or coming from the Hornell area to Alfred, like Alfred State or Alfred University or something like that, and there is a boatload of traffic. It's a solid river of traffic. And you wait there and wait and wait and wait and wait, and eventually you get your way out of the driveway. But man, it's always heavily traveled, it really is. Yes, sir, always a lot of fun. Well, let's see here. Coming up this weekend, it's the Labor Day weekend, that's right. And, of course, the New York State Festival of Balloons in Dansville. It starts, it starts this afternoon, and it goes right through Sunday. Let me see, we have food and arts and crafts, and, of course, the balloons. There's going to be, let me see, when's the launch this evening? I think it's at 6. It's 6 this evening, a balloon launch. And what else? We have tethered rides. A tethered ride. Starting at 7 o'clock this evening. That would be, I'm telling you, I think that'd be a lot of fun. And on Saturday, the whole, the thing starts again. There's a launch at 7 o'clock in the morning. And there's food and arts and crafts and music and, of course, more balloons. And on Sunday, there's a launch at 7 in the morning and again at 6 at night. And in between that's right, food, arts and crafts, and live music. So it's a big deal in the Dansville area. And I know a lot of people from Hornell attend that. So there you go. It's this weekend already. Yup, the end of summer. Well, let me see what's going on here. There's a bunch going on. I have a raft of stories here. Well, Monroe County Executive Cheryl Dinolfo has filed a lawsuit against New York State over the green light law. Okay, the green light law, of course, allows undocumented aliens to receive a New York State driver's license. And the county legislature up there in Monroe County authorized a lawsuit last month at their meeting. And Dinolfo argued that the law puts Monroe County employees in the position of breaking federal immigration law by issuing the licenses. And she has also said it violates the Constitution. So in New York, see, you're either obeying New York law or you're obeying federal immigration law. So I don't know. That puts them in pretty much of an awkward spot. She said, to me, bringing this lawsuit against the state of New York is all about protecting fundamental fairness in licensing. Under Albany's misguided new law, citizens will be required to provide more stringent identification to secure a driver's license than those who are here illegally. Which, I'm saying here, really doesn't make a lot of sense. So if you're a legal resident, you have to provide more stringent identification. If you're here illegally, it's not really necessary. That's kind of weird. Lawful citizens will also have their identifying information readily available to local law enforcement agencies, while illegal immigrants will have that same information shielded from law enforcement. Now, does that really make any kind of sense? No, I didn't think so. She says this law is flawed, fundamentally unfair, and likely unconstitutional, And she says they look forward to challenging it on legal merits by taking Governor Cuomo to court. Now, the Erie County Clerk in Buffalo has filed a similar lawsuit. So, a lot of county clerks and county executives are pretty much seriously against this law, the green light law. So we will see how that comes out there. Will she win? Will Monroe County win, or will the governor win? And the state of New York, I don't know. Should be very interesting. Let me see what. Now, there are good laws and bad laws coming out of Albany. Now, that green light law, I think, is just a little skewed. But this is a good law. And Cuomo was signed Aaron's Law into effect yesterday, I believe. It was yesterday, Thursday. Lessons in recognizing sexual abuse and exploitation are coming to New York public schools starting in July of 2020. Governor Cuomo Thursday signed Aaron's Law. It requires public schools to teach prevention in classes for grades K through 8 that are age appropriate, that's important, helping kids recognize the warning signs of abuse and where they can turn for help. And the governor said the sexual abuse is a nationwide epidemic that's inflicted unimaginable pain on countless children, and we must use every lever at our disposal to stop it. Many children who have been a victim of these horrific crimes or are still suffering from abuse don't have the information or emotional tools they need to fight back. And by requiring schools to teach kids how to recognize and ultimately thwart this heinous behavior, we are giving our most vulnerable New Yorkers a voice and empowering them to protect themselves. And that, I think, is a very good law. Now, if you're a child, let's say, I don't know, 4 years old, 6 years old, 8 years old, maybe, you kind of have an inkling that whatever's going on is wrong, but you don't quite know how or why. Imagine being a child and being the victim of something like that. You kind of instinctively know that it's a little strange here, but I really don't know. And where do I go? Who can I tell? How do I deal with this? So I think this Aaron's Law, teaching kids in grades K through 8. Yeah, I think that's a very, very good idea. And he signed Aaron's Law into law. So there you go. And what else here? Oh, this is from, where was this from? We're in Geneva. Officials in Geneva Thursday said vandals had spray painted over a memorial honoring 911 first responders, according to a report. Where did I get this from? WROC TV. To see something like this, that is really tough, because you know those people, you see those people every day, the firefighters, the police officers, EMTs, all those first responders, and to have the work they do be treated the way it is sort of unfortunate. And that's according to the assistant city manager of Geneva. So somebody spray painted over this thing. And it's a really nice looking monument. I mean, it really is nice. It's near Seneca Lake, and somebody spray painted it. Now, what in the world would make somebody do that? I mean, what would motivate a person to spray paint a monument honoring first responders to 9/11? Anyway, he also said it brings it all back to us when more attention is played onto it by people doing damaging things, saying damaging things. It makes it a lot harder, he said. And he added that some likely don't consider the symbolic significance of a memorial like the one vandalized. What they don't take into consideration is what about the people that the monument means. That's what it says here, according to the station there. So he says the suspect probably lives nearby, so they're trying to find who spray painted this monument. That's totally disgusting. A lot of officers, the firefighters, first responders, the EMTs, and all that from Hornell went down to New York after 9/11. A lot of them. And when you consider that a lot of people who were there right on the scene within, like hours or days suffered. as a result of going down there and trying to help other people. And we had a lot of guys and women, I'm sure, right here from Hornell who went down there right after 9/11. And more power to them. And I hope everybody's okay, because it had to be a real tough job. And to have somebody spray paint the monument is just totally disgusting. Okay, speaking about, let me see. More people are, we're going to get this from the National Real Estate Investor. More people are leaving New York City daily than any other U.S. city. More people are leaving New York City. According to the National Real Estate Investor, New York led all U.S. metro areas as the largest net loser of residents, with 277 people leaving it every day. New York leads all U.S. metro areas as the largest net loser, with 277 people moving every day. And that's more than double the net exodus of 132 just 1 year ago. So it's gotten quite a bit worse in 1 year. I mean, that's every day. Okay, 277 people. Los Angeles and Chicago were next with triple-digit daily losses of 201 and 161 residents, respectively. And this is according to 2018 census data on migration flows to the 100 largest U.S. metropolitan areas compiled by Bloomberg News. And at the other end of the spectrum, 7 cities had an average of more than 100 new arrivals every day. And they include Dallas, Phoenix, Tampa, Orlando, Atlanta, Las Vegas, and Austin. Saw substantial inflows from both domestic and international migration. And Sunbelt cities Houston and Miami claimed the 8th and 9th spots in the ranking. Seattle was the only cold-weather city among the top 10. Do we have... Well, yes, we do. I believe... here he is. Yes, right. The one, the only, Rob Carolyn. Hello, Rob.
Good morning, Jonathan. How are you this morning?
Oh, pretty good. Okay, we could be doing worse. We could be living in New York City. So it could be worse. Everything's okay.
Oh, it's a lot worse. Both my brother and sister, not my brother's sister, my brother and daughter work in Manhattan.
Oh, they do? Oh. My condolences.
Going every day on the train.
Oh, well.
Daughter lives in Astoria.
Astoria.
She loves it.
I had an uncle who lived in Astoria. Long time. Uncle D. Yeah, Uncle Dimitri. Lived in Astoria.
Gotcha.
Oh, well. Anyway, so how are we looking weather-wise?
Not too bad. We've got a decent day that's going to develop across the southern tier. We've got some cloudiness out there this morning, and there have been a couple of light showers. They're associated generally with a cold front that's moving through, but the precipitation really hasn't been of any consequence. And the front's forecast to continue to move along. In fact, sun's already coming out around Niagara and in the Buffalo area, and that should work its way towards us. So we'll go from clouds this morning into some partial sun this afternoon. We'll notice it's a little breezy as the day goes on, and temperatures are going to end up between 75 and 80, so not terrible at all. Sunrise earlier this morning was at 6:34. Sun's going to set tonight at 7:47. Tonight we look clear to partly cloudy. A little bubble of high pressure heads our way. Cool overnight. We're 50 to 55, and we may have some patchy fog develop in a few spots tonight as well. Tomorrow we'll turn partly sunny. We're 70 to 75. Tomorrow night clouds 50 to 55. The warmer weather comes back at us on Sunday. Clouds, a couple of showers near 70. And then for Monday, clouds will give way to partial sun just like today, but it'll be warmer. We should be around 75 Labor Day afternoon. So best weather's tomorrow and the afternoon on Monday. Worst weather is going to be on Sunday, Jonathan.
Okay, looking good. Now, I know it's practically impossible, but do you have any kind of a long-range forecast, like the next, let's say, month or two or something? It's going to be warmer, cooler?
Cooler, and it looks like it's going to be wet. The weather pattern that we had around in April and May that lasted into June, that dip in the jet stream, looks like it's starting to re-amplify, and that's going to have the tendency to send some cooler temperatures our way for September into October. And also the passage of frontal systems will result in some occasional rain. So right now I'm thinking the start of the fall is a little cooler and wetter than normal.
I have this theory that once a weather pattern hits, it stays around for a while. So if it's going to be cooler,
a lot of times.
Yeah, if it's going to be cooler and rainy now, what happens when winter comes?
It's snowy and cold. No, I would agree with you. I'm concerned about the winter being a snowy and cold one. If this pattern that we've seen develop late last winter that continued through the spring re-amplifies for the fall, it could hang around for the upcoming winter, and it would mean a cold and snowy one.
Oh, that's good. That's nice and cheerful. Okay, Rob, thanks.
Hey, better than the forecast for West Palm Beach this weekend.
I did want to ask you, Rob, before you go, do you have any stations you're forecasting for that are going to be affected by Dorian greatly?
Yes, we've got a station in Boynton Beach, Florida. They're very, very concerned about where it's going to go. I think Dorian is going to be a lot like Hurricane Andrew was. Andrew was a very small and intense storm, and it looks like this one's going to be a small and intense storm as well. Right now, the Air Force reconnaissance plane in the storm has found that the winds have increased to 110 miles an hour, and it's probably going to be up to 115 later today. That makes it a Category 3 hurricane. We think it's got the potential to be a 4 or a 5 by the time it makes landfall late Monday afternoon and evening in southeastern Florida, and that means the winds could be anywhere from 135 to 155 miles an hour.
Yipes. Okay, Rob. Well, there you go. Okay, we'll talk to you next week. Bye.
You got it.
Yep, bye.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Eddie Garcia.
In college football, number 1 Clemson opened up its season with a 52-14 win over Georgia Tech. The defending national champs were led by running back Travis Etienne, who had a career-high 205 yards rushing and 3 scores. Number 12 Texas A&M had no trouble beating Texas State 41-7. 14th-ranked Utah beat BYU 30-12, and number 17 UCF crushed Florida A&M 62-0. UCLA lost to Cincinnati 24-14. In baseball games of note, the Indians shut off the Tigers 2-0. It was the A's over the Royals 9-8. And the Rays beat the Astros 9-8. Cleveland still holds a game-and-a-half lead on Oakland for the number 1 wildcard spot in the American League. Oakland still has a 1-game lead on Tampa Bay for the 2nd wildcard spot in the AL. Cubs wrap up a sweep of the Mets with a 4-1 win. Chicago still has the number 2 wildcard spot in the National League, now 2.5 games up on Philadelphia. The Cubs also moved a game-and-a-half back of St. Louis for first in the NL Central. Diamondbacks over the Dodgers 11-5. The Twins top the White Sox 10-5.
From the Fox Business Network, the Dow looking to open higher, adding to Thursday's gains when the Dow closed up 326 points, the S&P 500 up about 37, and NASDAQ up by 116. Around the world, markets rallying on optimism over U.S.-China trade talks as a deadline for President Trump's tariffs gets set to take effect.
Starting on September 1st. Now, those will go in 2 phases. The president upped tariffs on an additional $300 billion in Chinese imports from 10% to 15%. Part of that goes into effect on Sunday. The other part, December 15th. And this is designed to increase pressure on China.
Edward Lawrence with the Fox Business Network. In the Brexit fight, a victory just in for British Prime Minister Boris Johnson. A Scottish court rejecting a legal challenge aimed at blocking him from suspending Parliament. And Japan looking to beef up its defense spending to $50 billion. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Lilian Wu.
Do you want to learn to speak a new language but don't have enough time? Then you need to try Babbel, the language learning app that you can try for free right now at Babbel.com. Babbel's lessons are just 15 minutes or less, and you can go at your own pace. You'll be amazed at how easy Babbel makes it. Start your first lesson in the language of your choice for free. Just download the Babbel app or go to Babbel.com now. That's Babbel.com.
The Ryan Agencies, your local, independent insurance agencies. The Ryan Agency is not beholden to any one insurance company. They work with many companies, offering unbiased insurance advice. Their interest is seeking your best interest. Contact the Ryan Agencies, good people offering unbiased advice, seeking your best interest.
Insurance protection you can rely on. The Ryan Agency.
Today at Simmons Rockwell Ford, drive away in a new Ford F-150 lease for only $339 a month. A new 2019 F-150 STX Crew Cab 4x4 equipped with a 2.7 V6 EcoBoost engine, running boards, 20-inch alloy wheels, lease with no money down and Ford Trade Assist for $339 a month for 36 months. Only tax and DMV fees are due at signing. Shop Simmons-Rockwell.com.
Okay, and we are back. Yes, you've heard of the Squad, of course, the infamous Squad, including AOC, that's right, Ilhan Omar of Minnesota, Rashida Tlaib of Michigan, and what's the other one? Ayanna Pressley of Massachusetts. So the 4 of these ladies, how they were ever elected, I have no idea. Whatever prompted people to elect them, I just don't have the slightest clue, because all they do is cause mischief. And there you go. So I don't know how they were elected, but they were. Get this. This is Ilhan Omar, who has other problems going on right now anyway. She's demanding that just, are you sitting down? Good. She is demanding that the United Nations take control of the U.S. border with Mexico, in a mirror of how Europe was inundated with migrants following lobbying from international bodies. She said she was at an immigration forum in South Minneapolis. She said we should do what any other country does by dealing with the situation in a serious way. So, we have to bring in the United Nations High Commissioner on Refugees, an agency that has the expertise and the training to handle massive flows of refugees humanely. So according to Representative Omar, she's demanding that the United Nations take control of the U.S. border with Mexico. Where do you begin? What? What kind of insanity is that? I know that these four are so far left that they're just like out of the solar system. That's how far left they are. But this is bizarre. She's a member of the U.S. Congress. She's a representative. So the United Nations should take control of the U.S. border with Mexico. Of course, that's totally absurd. And that's only for a start. Anyway, she previously called for the elimination of the entire Department of Homeland Security. Right? Man, where do you get an idea like that? Anyway, her statements fall right in line with the 2001 UN strategy document that outlines the need to flood America and Europe with hundreds of millions of migrants, ostensibly to maintain population levels. Okie doke, that's very good. So she's not the only one. French President Emmanuel Macron, was once highly in favor of giving over its control of its borders to EU regulatory bodies. What is going on here? That is just totally bizarre. So the UN should take over. Okay, fine, there you go. Where do you start? The squad, yes sir, Bob. Okay, that's it. I will see you Monday at 8:05. Bye.